Turning 59 and a half, the retirement milestone that no one talks about. And you've celebrated a lot of milestones, turning 16, turning 18, 21, and of course the traditional retirement age at 65. But the one milestone that most people don't talk about, it flies under the radar and it's a game changer, turning 59 and a half. This is when the retirement rules shift. This is where all of a sudden you have access to key retirement accounts without penalties. If you're working, in most cases, you can actually start moving money out of your 401k into your own IRA, and you get to choose your investments versus only working with the cookie cutter investments your 401k plan offers. And you can keep your current 401k account open and continue to get your match and continue to contribute. But let's go ahead and start off with penalty-free withdrawals. This happens in your retirement accounts when you hit 59 and a half. If you access your retirement accounts before 59 and a half, you have to pay the IRS an extra 10% on those distributions, including taxes. But once you turn 59 and a half, you avoid those early withdrawal penalties altogether. That's a game changer, especially if you want to retire early. Now, the second piece of this is if you're working and you're contributing to a 401k, getting a match, once you hit 59 and a half, in most cases, not 100%, it's all dependent upon your plan rules, but in most cases, you have the ability to roll out all or a portion of your 401k into your own retirement plan. Now, David, why would I want to do that? Well, because number one, in a company-sponsored retirement plan of 401k, you usually have a limited set of investment options, mutual funds, maybe anywhere from 8 to 10 to 12. When you start rolling that money out on your own, again, once you hit 59 and a half, now you can customize your retirement plan. You can own things like individual stocks or cryptocurrency or annuities. Basically, whatever it is that you want that's important to you, you now get to dictate what you own versus your employer getting to dictate what you own. One thing to consider is you still keep your 401k open. You still contribute up to your max. You'll still get your match if you're getting a match, if that's applicable. So you're not closing the account. You're just moving that money over into something that's more customized and it's more catered to you and where you're at in your retirement journey, right? Once you get 60, you're probably at a stage of your life where you want to take on less risk. A lot of times when we review 401k accounts for prospective clients, they've never changed their risk level. Now you can start customizing it to where you can take on more risk, start planning for income because you're really getting closer to your retirement years. That doesn't mean that you're withdrawing from your account. You're just moving the account so you have more flexibility and more options. So remember, 59 and a half, really kind of that milestone that no one talks about, but it's really an important time in your retirement years where you can start taking back control of how your money's invested and the planning that you can start doing. You don't have to wait until you're retired. You can start doing this at 59 and a half, especially while you're still working. What we're going to talk about now is, again, once you turn 59 and a half, now you have access to all or some of your 401k, which for a lot of people, that could be most of their retirement accounts, especially if they're still working. Well, David, what are some planning opportunities I could possibly take advantage of once I turn 59 and a half, now that I know that I have access to some of that money? Well, number one, you can go from your 401k into a Roth and start doing tax planning. Because remember, if you're born after 1960, your new RMD age is age 75. If you're born before 1960 and not taking RMDs, your RMD age is 73. So the idea here is you turn 59 and a half. You now understand that either all or some of your 401k is accessible. You can now start doing Roth conversions to see if that makes sense. And what we're going to show you here is a hypothetical client example of someone doing Roth conversions now versus waiting until they have to take their RMDs and showing you the difference in tax savings. Okay, so what we have here is, again, Tim and Tammy sample. They got about $1.5 million in retirement accounts. And really what we want to show you is that a scenario where they start doing Roth conversions now waiting until when they take RMDs, and now their RMDs are due, now they're stuck in a higher tax bracket. Okay, so now what we're going to do is run what's called our tax scenario and show someone what their lifetime taxes are. So what you're going to see here, if Tim and Tammy wait till their RMD age, over their lifetime, their taxes are going to be $734,000. What you're going to notice is that during their retirement years, they're actually at a lower tax bracket. But then what you're going to notice is, see how the blue bars go up really high? This is their RMD age. So you can see that once that happens, they're kind of stuck, right? They continue to pay more taxes under two circumstances. One, their money continues to grow, and B, every single year you get older post RMD age, the IRS actually forces you to take more money out. So the question becomes, what if we were to do some tax planning earlier and avoid this jump where we're stuck, right? All we're going to do is say, hey, in the years where you don't have to take your RMD, what if we were to do some tax planning? How does that help? Here's what you're going to kind of see is that in these early years, what Tim and Tammy were willing to do is pay taxes earlier, because what they wanted to do is they wanted to mitigate their RMD requirements when they turned 75. And in fact, in this scenario, we got rid of most, if not all, of their IRAs so that when they turn RMD age, they don't even have to worry about being stuck in a higher tax bracket. So the end result in this potential hypothetical scenario is that this has the potential to reduce their lifetime taxes about $111,000. But then what it did is it created a potential tax alpha in their portfolio of additional assets of $3 million. Because the way this works is that the longer you have money growing in a tax-free Roth IRA, where that money's compounding year in, year out and growing tax-free, that's also money that's not RMD applicable. And in this situation, not only could you potentially reduce your lifetime taxes in this scenario about $112,000, but you'll also have the potential to increase your overall portfolio assets of about $3 million. And another way that I can show this is a side-by-side comparison of showing you how your tax-free assets are growing versus not doing any tax planning. So if you were to say, well, I don't really want to do any Roth conversions or tax planning, David, because I don't want to pay higher taxes today. I'd rather just kick this can down the road, right? And what you can see in this base facts scenario, essentially what this is, them not doing Roth conversions and just waiting till their RMD age. And then at that point, that's when the IRS kind of controls your tax scenario, because now you're forced to take withdrawals, whether you need to or want to, and then you're going to be stuck in a certain tax bracket. And we're comparing this versus let's be aggressive in doing Roth conversions now to show you what the net result is. So what you can kind of see here, I'll show you the numbers here in a second, but I'll kind of show you this based upon these bars. So these light blue bars are all of their tax deferred assets, your pre-tax money, IRAs, 401ks, it could be 403s, 457s, things of that nature. And for Tim and Tammy, these are their taxable assets. This is their after-tax account. They don't have any tax-free assets. Now, if we do some tax planning, you can see we are aggressively getting rid of the light blue, and sooner than later, we're getting to this, we can call this orange, or if you want to call it orange-brown color. These are their assets. So you can see at end of life, they're leaving more tax-free assets than tax-deferred assets. And we'll talk about the advantage of that has as far as your legacy plan and your beneficiaries. But if we scroll down, what you're going to compare side by side, in the base case, the tax-deferred assets that are left behind are about $2.3 million. And where that could be a hindrance to your beneficiaries is that the current rules on leaving IRA money to non-spousal beneficiaries changed in 2020 under the Secure Act 2.0. That essentially says that, hey, if in this scenario, if they left $2.3 million to their kids, your kids under current rules today, and who knows, this may change, they have 10 years to take this money. Well, what if they're in their prime earning years, or what if they're dealing with their own taxable assets, pensions, IRAs, 401ks, RMDs, whatever? Your beneficiaries could lose 20, 30, or 40% of this money over that 10-year period where they're forced to take it out. Or under our tax planning scenario, what if we left them $5.7 million of tax-free assets? Now, they still have to take the money over 10 years, but in this scenario, they could actually let the money grow for 10 years. And real simple, to get your money to double over a 10-year period of time, you need a 7.2% rate of return. So let's just say this $5.7 million doubles. That's over $11 million that you could leave tax-free to your heirs. That is game-changing tax planning. So again, what we're talking about in this example is that if you're 59 and a half, you're still working, you now have access to your 401k. That 401k now can be looked at as an asset where you can start doing tax planning. And based upon a situation in your example, you can start getting ahead of forced RMD withdrawals sooner rather than later. Now what we want to talk about are the new max out catch-up contributions within your 401k over age 50. Really what we're just going to do simply is pull out the new tax facts, what we call this our 2025 tax summary. This is all from the IRS. This is all simple stuff. So what you're going to see here, and I'm going to highlight this, is your individual 401k contributions. They've let you add a little bit more money. So we want to highlight this period right here. And don't ask me why they've made it 60, 61, 62, and 63. It's probably because savings in America, it's not really good. People haven't saved enough for retirement. But now if you're between the ages of 60, 61, 62, and 63, you can now add an additional $3,750 per year tax deferred. You probably also do this in your Roth 401k. If you believe taxes are going to be higher down the road because of the $35 trillion of debt that we're in as a country, and you want to start putting more money away, but you want to do it where that money is growing, compounding, tax-free, you can check with your employer, because certain employee plans allow you to do this, employer plans allow you to do this, some don't. You can now contribute an extra $3,750 between the ages of 60 and 63. And some of that could be put into a Roth 401k, which you can let grow and compound. And then the more tax-free money you have just puts you at a better position when you start taking distributions from your retirement accounts. If you got a good amount of your money in tax-free buckets, then it's going to help you really kind of control your tax brackets where you're not forced to jump up as much versus if all of your money was pre-tax.